Alright, Bubba here again. Just a little real quick video. I'm working on a leather strop for a fella, and I really should have recorded the whole thing, because I don't think I've posted a video about making a strop yet, but I just now thought about it, and I'm going to do a little bit and just show you what I've done so far and pretty much explain it to you verbally. Alright, hold on. Alright, well, first thing I've done is I made the paddle. I don't usually like to have a paddle with knots in it. I almost always try to make sure there is no knots in it. But I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you. I'm giving this one to a friend. I'm not charging him anything. And this is a piece I had. I don't think the knots are going to affect it. I don't think he's going to have a problem with it. But for anybody who wants to buy one, I almost always try to make sure there's no knots. And I always try to make sure I buy oak. First thing I do is I cut it out. I buy a 1x4. If you feel like paying a lot of extra money, I will actually cut it out of a log and mill it down myself by hand, but you're going to pay for that extra work. So I just buy plank board. First thing I do is I got a template. I cut it out to this shape here. It's the shape I found I like. I do put a hole in it for a lanyard. I do all my strops at 18 inches long. That is 6 inches of handle and 12 inches of leather, front and back. I do a front piece and a back piece. And they usually go for $30 with front and back. If you don't want the back piece, you just want one-sided, I'll probably do it 20 plus shipping. But we ain't here trying to sell. Well, maybe we are. But I cut everything off my template that I made myself. And I route the edges just to give it that rounded area. I like the little groove in it. I burn my little maker's mark into it. This one I've actually took a torch and did a little burning all over the wood just because I thought it would look decent. Just something different. I like playing with the torch. And I finally got my torch to work. I figured out what was wrong with it. There was a spider web hidden up inside the tip of it, and I couldn't see it, and I thought I cleaned it out before, but evidently I didn't. But once I cut the wood out and I sand everything down, I'll burn it. And I'm going to oil the handle. I'll oil the handle with tung oil. Most of the time I use tung oil. And because tung oil is food safe, supposedly. And if you end up sharpening your kitchen knife or something like that on this, I don't want any kind of toxics on it. I do buy almost all my leather from Tandy because there is a Tandy leather outlet right down the road. I try to buy really high quality leather, which is why I charge a decent amount for them. But I do a 8 ounce, 7 to 9 ounce leather on my strops. It's not too thick, not too soft, too skinny. What's the name of the leather I buy? It's a little bit more expensive. It's not just the trash hides. I can't remember the name of it. Shoot, oak something maybe, I can't remember. And then once I've cut them out, I always cut them out a little bit bigger than they need to be. Thus you can see the little corner, because all that's going to be excess. And what I use to attach mine to the paddle itself, I have found this. I like it. They ain't paying me to sell it or promote it. It's original barge all-purpose cement. It has a very, very, very good tack time on it. And once this stuff is about dry and you put it on there, it ain't letting go. It ain't gonna let go. So you got to make sure you got that bad boy lined up where you want it to go, because once it touches the other mating surface, it's there. If you try to pull it off, you're losing wood or leather, or something's giving up. This stuff ain't giving. But it's not real thick, so I can brush it on real easy. I got these little brushes here I use. I can brush it on real easy, and since it's not so thick, I can get a better coat. I like it that way. I've used some of the thicker stuff. I got some somewhere over here, but that's what I prefer to use. I guess everybody eats your own, and I haven't had any problem with this stuff letting it go, and I've used it on a lot of things. Even my little girl's fake plastic fun jewelry that breaks, this stuff puts it together and it don't break again. But anyways, what I'll do is see if I can do this. I might pause it because I don't have my camera girl here with me. What I do is I take the mating surface of the wood, and I brush a nice thin coat on it. Then I take the mating surface of this and I brush a nice coat on it. The wood and the leather soak up at a different, I guess you call it rate or whatever. One soaks up quicker than the other one. So you might have to apply a little bit more to the leather or the wood depending on the wood, but it's usually the leather that soaks it up real quick. But I try not to put too much on the leather because I don't want it soaking into the different layers and affecting the strop at all. But I guess let me pause y'all for a second and I'll put a coat on the wood here and show you what I mean. Alright. Alright. What I've done, see if I can show you, is I have brush coated both of them. Now, I've tried to keep it as even as possible, not too thick, not too thin. And I know that on this leather, an 1/8 inch on either side is going to be extra, 1/8 to 1/4. I didn't measure exact, but it's going to be about that much. But even still, I tried to work it to the very, very corners and edges so that I didn't have any dry spots, I didn't have any glue, just in case I do get it a little crooked. And I did the same thing on the paddle. Worked it right to the edges, made sure that I don't have any areas where there's a possibility there won't be a good seam. I don't want this to pull up later. I don't want any kind of problems with it later. I try to guarantee my work the best that I can, and this is one of those small things you got to pay attention to. I don't want the leather to be able to wrinkle up, so I've held this thing in the different angles of the light so I can see all the complexions, make sure there's no blank spots. And this stuff usually takes 5 to 10 minutes to cure, and you want to let it stick tacky. Now, if you're new or you got a shaky hand or whatever your problem might be, not saying you got a problem, I'm just saying whatever your issue is, you can put this stuff on a little wet. I don't recommend doing it too wet, just my opinion, but let it get tacky. I do it till it's almost dry, and once you touch that surface to the other surface, it ain't coming off. It's there. But the way I do it, it works for me. Do it how you want to do it. Now, I usually take this 5 or 10 minutes to either tinker with something else, get the next piece of something else ready, or get me a drink, or go make me a sandwich. But you can do whatever you want to with your free time. Maybe I should clean up. Look at all this. Thought I was organized. Looks really messy in my video. I apologize about that. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna pause for a minute, go get me a drink and a bite to eat, and when this gets tacky real quick, I'll come put it on. And I want to see if I can't figure out how to set the camera up so that y'all can see me do that. You might not get to see me, I'm sorry, but I'll be right back. Alright, let's see if we can do this here without messing up on camera. I always do. It's not even really sticky anymore. It don't feel like glue now. I always try to do one edge completely straight and square, and that's what I put at the bottom towards the handle because it's really hard to trim that edge right here. So when I put that on, that's my starting point. And I try to make sure that joker is exactly where it needs to be. And then I'll work it by applying pressure and keeping an eye on both sides so I don't go sideways like I'm trying to right now. And I just work that thing on there. Oh, and note to self, always wash your hands before dealing with leather, even if you're going to coat it with jeweler's rouge or buffing compound, because you will grease it, you will stain it, and it will affect how your rouge takes and all that. Beautiful. Now, I got one side that's almost completely flush, and then one side that has most of my excess on. I don't know if y'all can see that. See most of my excess hanging down there? And this side right here is almost completely flush. I just got a barely little bit to trim. In some place it is completely flush. Got a little too close on that one, but I'll trim it off right here. This is good. And then I'll trim this side off. And that's one side right there. And a lot of times what I'll do is I've got some marble over here, some marble slabs. Like this. And I'll stick these on here and apply pressure. but I usually do it standing up. Now, I don't want to apply too much pressure because I don't want to dent my leather. I don't know if I should do this or shouldn't do this. I don't know. Ain't nobody ever told me no different. But I feel like it helps. Makes it look a little better. I don't see no wrinkles in it. I didn't crease it with my stone. I think it looks nice. And then I'll flip it over and I'll put this piece on the back. But that's basically it. When I get it done, I'll put a piece of leather right here, little leather thong to hang it up or whatever you want to do with it. I do make them and sell them. If you want one, hit me up. If you just like it, you know, thumbs up or whatever, make a comment. If you make your own and have a better idea for something for me to do, hey, feel free to tell me. If I'm doing something you don't think I should be doing, leave some constructive criticism in the bottom down there in the comments. Don't be a butthead though. If you like it, do me a favor, you know, like it, subscribe. You know, I could use some followers, promote me out there. But get out there, try it yourself, make your own. These things come in handy. They really make a difference when you're putting that final edge on your blade. This is one of the rouges I use. This one actually comes from Tandy, but I've got, they're actually over on my grinding bench. I've got a couple other colors, green and white and red and brown. The different colors just distinguish the grit. All this does is when you add this to it, it adds a real fine grit to your leather, which aids in your sharpening. So I usually use white on my coarser side and green on my smoother side. But that's my preference. That's what I think works. And if you order one from me and you order it pre-loaded, what we call loaded, with the rouge or the buffing compound already on it, that's the colors you're going to get, is the white compound and the green compound. The white will be on the rough, the green will be on the smooth, because the green's a finer grit. And that's all I'm going to do, is I'm going to glue this one down, work some rouge into it, and put the leather thong onto it and mail it out to my buddy. Like I said, if you got any questions or comments, leave them below. I really appreciate y'all watching. Have a blessed day and a wonderful week.